Starting at the front of your mat in Tadasana and focusing in on your breathing, breathing in for 4 and breathing out for 4. Allowing your breath to settle into a gentle, steady rhythm. And keep this rhythm with you throughout this short practice. Gently draw your hands to prayer position at the heart center. And keeping in tune with your breath, breathing in, lift your arms overhead. Bring them to prayer position. As you breathe out, draw them down to your chest and again down to your sides. Breathing in, take them overhead. And breathing out, draw them down past your chest, down to the hips. Once more, breathing in, lift your arms overhead. Breathing out, hands down. In time to your breathing, Surya meditation. Breathing in, lift your arms up. This time on the out breath, forward fold, take your hands to the floor, tuck your chin. Breathing in, lift the gaze, lift the heart, hands to the floor, and as you breathe out, stepping back into plank, chaturanga, and as you breathe in, push through your hands, lift up with the chest into upward facing dog. And as you breathe out, come back over the toes, downward facing dog. Position your feet, perhaps walk the dog. We're staying here for around 5 breaths. Just easing out the back of your legs, taking one heel to the floor and then the other. Perhaps softening both knees, allowing the heels to lift and swing the abdomen down towards the thighs. Opening up under the arms and then encouraging the heels back and down once more. So creating space down the front of your body in your chest, under your arms and all the way down to the floor. And then come up onto your toes, gaze forwards and stepping the feet back towards the hands. Breathe in, lift the sternum, lift the gaze. Breathing out, gently folding towards the legs. Breathing in, coming all the way up, being gentle with your body. This is the first round. Breathing out, take the hands back down to your hips. Once again, breathing in, lifting the arms up. Breathing out, coming into a forward fold, softening the knees if that's better for your lower back. Breathing in, keeping the tailbone high as you lift the chest. And keep the chest lifted as you breathe out into plank and chaturanga. Breathing in, thinking about the sternum lifting into upward facing dog. Push through your hands. And then come back over the toes, lift the tailbone high, downward facing dog. And as you're here, remembering, breathing in for 4, breathing out for 4. Take this time in downward facing dog to allow the breath to come back to that regular rhythm. Opening under the armpits. Making sure your hands are fully in contact with the floor, supporting your shoulders in the safe, strong position. Feeling the stretch down the back of the legs. Perhaps drawing the belly button in towards the spine. At the end of the 5th out breath, gaze towards the hands, up onto the toes and stepping back towards the hands. Breathing in, lifting the body and breathing out, folding into your forward fold, Uttanasana. Breathing in, coming all the way up, stretch the hands up to the sky. Breathing out, taking your hands back to the hips. Once more, breathing in, arms up to the sky. Breathing out, forward fold, feeling as though each time we move through the sun salutations, your body feels a little looser, a bit warmer. Breathing in, lifting the chest, breathing out, keeping the chest open as you step back into plank or chaturanga. Breathing in, upward facing dog. And breathing out, downward facing dog. Be mindful in these transitions So it's not just the end pose that's important, it's how you move through, the quality of the movements. Breathing in for 4, breathing out for 4 while you're in downward facing dog. Keep the triceps wrapping around towards the ears, pushing through your hands, encouraging the heels down towards the floor. And then lifting up onto the toes, stepping forwards, breathing in, extending the body, and breathing out, forward fold. As you breathe in, come all the way up, stretch it to the fingertips up to the sky. Breathing out, draw the hands back to prayer position. Come back to Tadasana, allow the breath to settle. Hands by your sides. Now take your hands to your hips so the knees and ankles are together. A quarter forward fold, half forward fold, keep the back straight, so bend the knees as much as you need to. Allow the chest, the abdomen to come down and rest on your thighs. Extend the hands forward to create that length in the body. And then take a grip of your toes. Keep your knees as bent as you need to so that you can reach down and grip your big toes. Push your toes down so your fingers are pressed into the floor, and use that to anchor your body down. Bend your elbows and keep your elbows squeezed inwards, and then lift the tailbone. Working in Uttanasana, Pada and Hangustasana. Feeling that warmth in the hamstrings as you're stretching down. Perhaps the legs straightening a little with each breath. And then bending the knees again, reaching the hands forward so you're releasing the toes. Keep the body nice and long. And then come into Utkatasana. So bending the knees deeply, tailbone behind you, lifting the hands up by your ears. Keeping the shoulders actively working, encouraging the arms up. Take the hands to prayer position, and then take the outside of your left elbow to the outside of the right knee. So taking a twist in Utkatasana. Hands in prayer position still, and if you push down with that top hand onto your bottom hand, you can encourage yourself deeper into the twist. Release the twist, come back into Utkatasana, so hands to the ceiling, knees deeply bent. And then hands back to prayer position, outside of the right elbow now to the outside of the left knee. If you can't get the elbow to the knee, feel free to straighten that bottom arm and use the forearm against the leg to help you into the twist. Breathing in through Utkatasana and lift the fingers up to the sky, straighten the legs. Just releasing the shoulders, allowing your hands to come back to your sides. Taking a few breaths once more, allowing the breath to settle. Breathing in for 4 and breathing out for 4. And now step the feet wide apart, so a good distance apart. Allow the right heel to kick out, the left toes to point out at 90 degrees. Coming into Trikonasana, triangle pose. So stretch away with your left hand, keep the underside of the body long, and allow the left hand to come down wherever it reaches. So it might be the knee, the shin. It could reach the floor, come onto your fingertips or a block if that helps. But keep the chest open, so we want that top hand floating up to the sky and one shoulder stacked above the other. Look down towards the floor now, reposition the feet, bend that front leg so that knee comes over the ankle, sweep that top hand in a diagonal overhead. You can take the bottom arm behind the knee if your chest is open. Otherwise, it's fine to keep it in front. So we're coming into Parsvakonasana. And then take that top hand down, come onto the back toes, so one hand either side of the foot. Back knee down, we're coming into a low lunge. So the front knee is over the ankle, back knee down, untuck the back toes. Take the hands to prayer position at the heart center, keep the chin tucked in. Encourage the chest to lift up towards the sky and roll the shoulders away from the ears. Nice gentle back arch. Take the hands down either side of that front foot now. Tuck the back toes under. Coming into downward facing dog and swing that leg all the way up into three-legged dog before coming back into downward facing dog. Once more, a couple of breaths here to allow the breath to settle. And then we're going to take one foot and then the other, stepping forward towards the hands. Forward fold. Breathing in, coming all the way up, stretch the hands up to the sky. And breathing out, bringing them down to prayer position. And then the hands come down to your side. And we're going to take that sequence to the other side. So step the feet wide once more. This time we're going to turn the right foot so the toes point at 90 degrees, left heel kicks in. Stretch away with the right hand and bring it down to wherever it reaches. So the knee, the shin, keeping the underside of the body long. Think about extending the chest away. So keep lifting the chest and then rolling the chest open so one shoulder stacks above the other. If you want to take the hand a little further down and you can do so without compromising that alignment, then please do. And then bending that front knee, coming into Parsvakonasana. So take that bottom hand onto the outside of the heel. A nice straight line from the straight legs, heel all the way up the shoulders and the tip of the fingertips. And then look down towards the floor, swing that top hand down so that you have one hand either side of the front foot. Allow the back knee to come down, untuck the toes, lift the hands up onto the hips. Bring them into prayer position at the heart center, tuck the chin down in towards your fingers, and then begin to roll your shoulders back and down. This feels uncomfortable in the lumbar spine, in the lower part of the spine. Just come up a little bit and tuck the tailbone under. Roll those shoulders back and down. So you're sliding the shoulder blades down the back. Then bring the hands down either side of the foot and lift that front leg up behind you. Swing it up into three-legged dog. And then place both feet down on the ground, downward facing dog. A couple of breaths here. Returning to your count of 4, 4. Now looking forward from downward facing dog, take the shoulders forwards over the wrists. So we're coming straight into plank. You may need to move the feet back a little. And there's a gentle pushing through your hands and a gentle strength in the shoulders. So we're not rounding completely, but neither are we collapsed through the shoulders. So a gentle firmness in the shoulders, pushing back through the heels. And then lift the hips back up. Allow the armpits to swing down towards the toes, downward facing dog. Now if you can, keep the elbows squeezing in towards each other and lower either both elbows down or one elbow at a time. So you're now coming into forearm dog. Notice that the forearms stay parallel, so elbows and wrists in one line. And then pushing into the hands, lifting back into downward facing dog. So lifting the elbows, keep them squeezing in, downward facing dog. And come up onto the toes, bend the knees, take them to the floor. Untuck the toes and coming into a kneeling posture, Vajrasana. Before closing, folding over the legs, bringing the forehead to the floor or to a block or to your fists into child's pose. Hands resting back by your heels if they're not under your head. Taking some time to ease out and breathe. Then extending the hands in front of you, so an extended child's pose. Coming forwards, lifting the shoulders above the elbows now, forearm plank. So step the feet back. Same thing. So shoulders are above the elbows. Gentle strength. Keep the heels kicking back. And then gently lowering the hips down to the floor, untucking the toes, coming into Sphinx pose. Forearms parallel. Allow the belly to sink down towards the floor. When you breathe in, feel that you can lift away from the forearms, so push the forearms into the floor, lifting the chest upwards and rolling the shoulders back and down so the neck stays long. Shoulders away from the ears. Feel as though you can squeeze the blades of your shoulders behind your back. And now, tucking the toes back under again, pushing back through the heels, engaging your core muscles, so grip where your belly button is and lift back into forearm plank. Couple of breaths here before gently lowering the body all the way down to the floor and taking a rest. One head on one side for a couple of breaths before turning it to the other side for an equal number of breaths. Now coming back onto the forearms, elbows are under the shoulders. Tuck the toes under and lift the body, so coming into forearm plank once more. Now we're going to turn onto the outside of the left foot. Swing the left arm in, so it's at a diagonal across the mat, and then allow the right arm to come up to the sky. Take it all the way overhead if that feels good, and lift the hips. Actively lift the hips away from the floor. Then lift the arm up and coming back into forearm plank, and we'll go to the other side. So swing that bottom arm round to a diagonal. Come onto the outside of that foot and lift the opposite hand up to the sky. You can bring it overhead if you want to, keep it lifting. And then come back down into forearm plank. Draw the knees underneath yourself and coming into a kneeling position. Good. Take the hands forwards, lifting into downward facing dog, and then step one foot forward and over to the side. Step the opposite foot and cross the ankles and come into a seated position. And from Dandasana, lift the right knee and take the right foot onto the outside of the left leg. Take the right hand behind you for support and use the left arm either wrapped around the knee or the outside of the left elbow on the outside of the right knee. So we're coming into Ardha Matsyendrasana twist. Release that twist on that side and we'll come to the other side. So left foot on the outside of the right leg, left arm behind you, and the right arm is either wrapped around that bent knee or elbow onto the outside of the knee. Using the arm and the knee contact to squeeze yourself into the twist. Gently looking over your shoulder, no strain in the neck. And then undoing the twist and taking a forward fold over both legs. So you may be able to grab your toes. If you can't grab your toes, either just sitting up and enjoying a hamstring stretch wherever you are, or you can use a belt around the balls of the feet. Aiming to keep the body long here, so if you aim anywhere, think about the nose aiming over the big toe, keeping the body long so the chest is lifting forwards, and it's the belly button we want to touch down onto the thighs first. And then allowing the head to release down, relaxing into your forward fold. And when you're ready, breathing in, sitting up, And then rolling yourself gently down onto the floor, coming into Shavasana. And staying in Shavasana for as long as you like. Pull a blanket over you if that feels nice. And enjoy some time releasing the body. Namaste.